Hello Kerbal and welcome to Mining the Man and More, part 13, Scanning and Saving the Kerbals. Yes, in the last episode we were trying to launch these engines, the Demi-God pusher engines, and the launch pad exploded, plus the launch clamps came up and hit us, our engines causing some serious damage to our boosters. Anyway, that was fixed. All it was raising the rocket, so when the physics of the game, when the physics of the game were loaded, it was hitting the launch pad and causing problems. As you can see by here as well, we've got problems that these engines are quite heavy. In fact, I have to activate the engines to get it up into orbit because the thrust weight ratio is low. We may have been able to get it up into orbit, but it would have wasted delta V. And activating those engines on the outer ring caused some wobbling, and that's because their outer rockets were gimbling, so every time it was trying to correct, all the engines were gimbling to try to correct and causing the wobble. So that's one thing to note. If you have a center engine, you could have that to gimbal, and the outer engines you can fix to stay stationary. Therefore you should not get that wobble. And you can see by here I was transferring all the fuel from the other fuel tank because we used quite a bit in those tanks, and I didn't realise those angle tanks didn't have so much fuel. So we're gonna have to do a mission to refuel the Demi-God pusher engines. No idea why I done that voice, but anyway, let's continue. Right, we have to intercept the spacecraft we sent up there with the claw that'll choose the asteroid or capture it. And we've got 3 Kerbals up on that at the moment. And here's me, I'm trying to burn to get our apoapsis up high. I was planning on get the periapsis up high, and the idea is that we could set the higher orbit. We can let the spacecraft under us catch up, and then we can set up a maneuver that'll get us an intercept. Yes, I did play around with it, see if I could get an intercept first, but no luck there. Okay, so what we're going to do, as I said, is raise our periaps. And then all it is time. We create a maneuver node, and they're just waiting for that intercept. And in fact, it comes quite quickly, quite easily actually. As long as your orbit is higher than the target or lower than your target, it's easy to use a maneuver node to try to find out where that intercept is. Even if you have to fiddle with that maneuver node, add an orbit or 2 to it to get it. Okay, so we've done our intercept and it's now just time to dock. And as with everything, I've done a lot of cutscenes here because, well, there's quite a bit to do in this episode. As I said, the scanning as well. And no, it's not the asteroid. Oh yeah, do you see that ship jump around? That every time I time warp, even if it's physical time warp, the ship jumps around as if it's changing position. As if it can't work out where it is at the time. And I'm cheating by your docking. You could say it's cheating. I got the other spacecraft to target this one and to point at targets, therefore the docking port will keep on pointing at our rocket. A little handy tip, it doesn't work for space stations because they're too large to maneuver, but if you have 2 spacecraft that need to dock, you can target each other, get one to automatically point at the other one, and then control the other one to get in close and dock. Either that, or it's using a north-south pole docking position, which means the orientation of the ports don't change. Right, I did say we're going to have to send up a fueler, and I built this just as a couple of simple tanks and a probe core on the top of the docking port. Oh yeah, and don't forget all the RCS. I've added extra on this one. The, what do you call it? The round, I forgot what they're called now. The outer RCS thrusters with the large ones. And that was so they have a bit more power because for turning the rocket. This is going to be full of fuel. And I've done that mistake before. I haven't put enough RCS control, therefore docking was hard. Now you see also I put those small outer radial engines on there. They become important, not because I planned them to become important, but you'll see when we come to try and dock this. So everything's done, we'll call this an emergency fueler and just launch. Okay, and it's off we go, launching this and skipping so we can watch these decouple. As I said in episodes before, let me know if you want to watch full launches or perhaps just one full launch per episode. I'm not sure what you want. You have to talk to me. Okay, so now... oh yeah, we're getting into orbit. I'm forgetting where I'm at these videos at the moment. Okay, and... ooh. Yeah, getting up into orbit. I think this is the one where I have an accidental... see, I've got an accidental intercept on just getting into orbit. That was cool. That makes things a lot easier. If you've got that, keep it. Okay, here we go now. I decouple. Okay, I've decoupled. But those engines aren't getting away. That's not decoupled properly. I'm not sure what it was. I think it might have been the struts. But luckily we have the radial engines for control. However, something strange happens here. I'm minding my own business, saying, alright, that engine's going to stay on there, fair enough. We'll just mosey on, dock to it, and transfer the fuel. And, well, what's happening here? Whoa! Haha! Yes, it spontaneously disassembles on me. Well, can you see the trajectory of that tank? Yes, you can. Okay, is there any way? Quickly, changed. Maneuver. Too late. Yes, I did think at this moment, well, should I let it crash into it and make it an interesting episode? But the reality of it, I was a bit too slow to get the ship out the way anyway. The RCS wouldn't have been powerful enough or quick enough to do so. Anyway, trying to dock this with a bit of bounce, but it's relatively easy. Now it's time to transfer that fuel. This mission can be saved, because if you know in the previous episode or not, we have an asteroid heading for Kerbin, the home planet, and it's a humongous asteroid. It could devastate one of the cities which are not actually down on Kerbin, although you can install a mod to add cities to the Kerbin space program, which I'm having a look at. At the moment, it's not worth it because until you get version 1.1 out where they have multi-threading for the physics of the game. Oh yes, and this is what I want to show you. Last episode I installed Kerbal attachment system and I added these containers. You got Kerbal attachment system and Kerbal inventory system. Now I'm moving stuff over to my Kerbal's inventory and I think he's got full. And the idea of this was we could use those struts to actually go and strut up the spacecraft, make it much more stable, at least on the front, because the front's going to be connected straight to the asteroid. The rear engine's going to be pushing it. Any wobble on those docking ports are going to be severe. But here's the problem. I don't know how to use this, or at least I used the old one, and it was simply just click on the part, hover over and attach. It's not working. I do figure it out in the end, and all you have to do is press X while trying to attach. And hey presto! But what's happening here? In the old version, I was able to attach one end and then attach the other end, creating a strut. It's not allowing me to do it, so I think I'll click on here. Oops. Debert, what are you doing? You can't do that. I didn't know this at Kerbal attachment system allowed you to disassemble things. Although that does pose some interesting scenarios where you can take a rocket apart and rebuild one. However, I'm trying to do this again. Attach it there. I didn't want to attach it. I still want to attach it to the other side, but what's happening here? I think I clicked on the wrong part. And in trying to attach it or get it back into place, because I'm thinking that for some reason that I've detached it. Now I have. Okay, so Debert is messed up again. We should have invested more in their training. Anyway, in the beginning of the episode, I said the title was Scanning and Rescuing the Kerbals. Well, for the scanning, I mean I've installed a new mod, ScanSat. And here you've got the radar altimeter sensor, and you have there been there, done that. You have a load of other sensors as well. The been there, done that sensor I've just put on was one for scanning for anomalies. I forgot that that was only about 2 to 1 kilometers height for that one, so that doesn't work on a probe that we're building. And the altimeter sensor, that will show you the height map of a planet. And the good thing with these is that they'll scan in real time. So, well, even if you fast forward through time, that scan through time will be shown up on a map. Now, I'll show you that once we've launched this and get this around Minmus. Yes, Minmus we're going to. And the reason I'm going to Minmus is because, well, why not? I haven't been there in this episode yet, or in this series. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send this after I figure out how to build this, choose the correct engines. This is a very simple probe as well. All it is a probe core, solar panels, scanning system, fuel tank, simple little engine, and a reaction wheel, and some batteries. Of course, we don't want to run out of power over there. Okay, that was just a simple launch system as well. I did have a look at the launch systems I saved in my sub-assemblies, but all of them were too large for this. So something new, I think. Okay, now that's all done. It's just a matter of putting the launch clamps. Oh, don't forget the wings as well. And we're good to go. So let's name this Minmus Prober. And go. God darn it, Mark, you forgot to press record. Yes, during the launch, I must have pressed the record button twice. So I started, stopped it, and I missed all the launch up to here. Anyway, I did catch it on the transfer burn. I realized, oh, it's not running in the top left corner of the video. So I caught it here. Okay, we've done our transfer burn. Very simple. Get into Minmus, although I did forget that you have to do an inclination change, which I also did. And off we go. Okay, little tip, if you've got your intercept, you can kill your maneuver node and just carry on burning in the same direction just to finish off your burn to make sure you get that intercept altitude you want. Very easy, handy tip. As we come here, passing the moon, or man, and then as quickly as we pass the man, we come to Minmus. This in fact takes longer to get to Minmus than it does to the man. I think it's 4 days for travelling like this. In fact, on the mission clock to the top left, it's saying over 5 days. So yes, it does take a long time to get here. That means that's just showing that the higher in your orbit you get, yeah, the slower things slow down. Right, getting in orbit for scanning. Very important, this tip. You need to go on the polar orbit. Like with the stock scanning, you need to go on a polar orbit, except this one is for a good reason. Not because the game tells you so, it's because it's the best way. You can actually use these scanners on the equator to scan, but you'll only get a thin band around the equator. Now, the reason for getting this orbit, which we will do this burn, is because you can scan the North Pole down to the South Pole and back up. And if you get your orbit height right, which should not be exactly the same as the rotation of the planet or moon, then you will get the scanning all the way around. The moon will rotate, you get a scan again, rotate, scan again. Oh yeah, by the way, I decoupled that because it was full of fuel, but I didn't want it hanging around with that probe. But just best leave it go off into deep space. Okay, so now we're in orbit, we can activate our scanners. Okay, first off, the radar altimeter. Activate. Alright, it's clipping the dish there. Something I have to look out for next time. And you've been there, done that. Okay, so If you activate the map, you get a small map. You can see started to scan. And also you've got different modes on the scanner map. You can have the North and South Pole shown up. And also you can have the rectangular map. Okay, it does take a bit of time to load up, so I've fast forwarded the video by here. And you can see it's scanning away. It's showing the height. I think the darker the lumpy parts and the... or maybe the other way around. I'm not sure. I've forgotten a moment. But also by here you can see it's showing the scanning. The area which it's scanning shows you how high. I think you go higher, you can scan more, but the accuracy of the scan will be less, or something along the lines of that. Right. But while we'll let that scan, we'll come back to it. We have the Demi-God pusher. Okay, there's a problem with this. I can see the delta V I require for this maneuver, and the green line is in fact the path of the asteroid that's going to hit Kerbin. And to get on that same trajectory, for us to intercept it, it's going to cost us 2,500 meters per second. But we've only got 3,400 meters per second in the ship, and we're going to need some of that to alter the trajectory of the asteroid. I'm thinking by here, I've not got enough not to ensure a margin of success. We may be able to do it, but it's not worth the risk, not for an asteroid that's going to impact the planet. So it's rescue time. Alright, the problem is that the Kerbals on board have not got any way to re-enter the atmosphere without having to bring the that large front section down, the ship that was originally launched with. Now it may survive, but it's likely that it'll overheat, explode, spin out of control, causing our Kerbals to die horrible and unnecessarily fun death. So what I'm going to do here is I'm putting another container on there, one of the round ones, inline ones, and I'm going to send that up with the tools to be able to attach the parachutes. You can use the newfound facility of detaching parts to take the front cockpit, the command pod, off the main rocket, and then we can use that to re-enter the atmosphere and bring the Kerbals back safely. You can then take stock of the situation back down here on Kerbin and launch in the correct trajectory this time to intercept that asteroid. Because the idea is, well, it's not an idea, it's actual fact. If you want to intercept anything which is at an inclination, you're going to want to launch at that inclination. Now, the only problem is that you have to launch when that orbit is above you. So we're going to have to wait till Kerbin rotates to the same trajectory of that asteroid when it's roughly in the same plane, launch in the same orbital plane, make sure in the right direction, because I'm not sure if we have to launch up or down for that one. I assume it's up. Yes, I think it's up. We have to launch in the northerly direction. And then get your angle correct with the target. In this case, the asteroid. Okay, but first thing first, we have to go and save our Kerbals. So we're going to launch the emergency supply rocket. And hopefully things will work out. But in the meantime, while all this is going, the ScanSat is scanning the Minmus, the moon Minmus. So let's go back, have a peek. Okay, this is where I left off. I've refreshed the map. And hey presto! Now this map is handy because the dark areas showing the flat areas to find a place for you to land. Say you want to put a rover or something safely down, or land that won't tip over. That map is handy. However, that being there done that is not handy because we're not close enough, and 2 kilometers is too close to that moon because we'll crash into a mountain. Anyway, while we're checking that, our probe docked with our spacecraft. Now D-Bert has to get out, get all the containers, the stuff. I think we'll start off with the parachutes, because to get the heat shield that I put in that container, we're going to have to detach the command pod and then attach that to it, and everything's going to be drifting around. And I've noticed when you're trying to attach things that you can't actually move around. see the Kerbal moving around there. That's because I'm using the mouse. I'm not sure if there's a way around that. I'm just gonna have to try and find something out about that. But first things first, let's get the parachutes on there. First, parachute on, please. Hover over, X, and attach. Simples. Now next to attach. D-Bird is doing a wonderful job. He's learned from his mistakes, and this time we're going to return them safely. And next time we're going to engineer this rocket so it has parachutes already on it and a heat shield. Okay, first things first. I cannot deorbit the pod on its own, so I'm going to have to use the main engines. Now it's a race against time. Okay, first things first. We have to detach. Okay, equip the wrench. Climb down on a ladder. No, you can't detach the main root part. Too far away from that, so quickly now we're deorbiting. And there you go, we've detached the command pod. Okay, so the first things we have to do is... Well, first thing, I did try to get the heat shield and carry it, but it's too big. And you can see we're too far away. And as I said, because I'm holding the heat shield, it won't allow me to control the Kerbal. Come on. Yeah, I have to click escape to cancel it. Right, so next thing I did, I turned the probe around. Tried to get them close. It wouldn't allow me to attach it. I have no idea what was going on. I couldn't think of what I could do to get around that. So what I did, I floated my Kerbal up, heading towards the command pod. Quickly turn around. It's gone green. It's not allowing me to attach. And I've clicked the mouse button without hitting X. And it says we are only 1.3 Kerbals to carry it. Can you use more than one Kerbal? At this point, I was worrying. There's no way I could get another Kerbal out in time to catch it, because look, we're at 74 kilometers, or 75 kilometers, sorry. And falling, 74. So we're going to have to trust in the engineering of this command pod. Now, I hope the original designers designed this with specs in mind of re-entry heating, because that is what we're going to test right now. Right, point the probe in the right direction, fast forward time through the video, make sure all the parachutes are attached via staging, and deorbit. Okay, everything's going fine, just in case though, to enable ourselves to go straight on the re-entry and to make sure the heat is over the entire surface evenly, I've been trying to rotate the pod every now and again. Now I'm not sure if it's going to work, probably won't, but hey, let's give it a go. It looks cool anyway, even if our Kerbals are chucking up their breakfast at this time. But if we can save their lives, this will be good headlines, this will be good for our space program. This will mean that we saved our Kerbals, we brought them back. We're not going to risk their lives on a mission which could fail. No, we're going to do the right thing. Not because it is easy, not because it is hard, but because it's the right thing to do. We're getting no warning signs of any re-entry heating that's going to cause us to explode. No bar that is rapidly rising. So I think this probe is actually, it's not a probe, it's actually, this command pod has actually survived this. And of course, I know it survived because it's post-commentary, but I'm trying to make it sound dramatic as if I didn't know what's going to happen. And everything's going well. In fact, we can say that our Kerbals, D-Bird, Islina, and Milden have survived this. Anyway, luckily we saved our Kerbals. If you like this video, like the video, subscribe. If you're not, because there's more videos coming this way. And I have to take his helmet off. Yes, that's a cool feature. All I can say is, I'm more beta. Trust me, I'm an engineer. And so is D-Birthbiter.